Hello, welcome to this training video as part of a series Positive Behaviour Support in Early Childhood. This training video was developed by Ripple as part of a regional community childcare development fund, and the focus for this training video is on the use of pre-corrections in early childhood as a preventative strategy. This module is part of Phase 1 and it is the fourth module in this phase. Let's start. Pre-corrections means anticipating problem behaviour and intervening before the problem behaviour occurs. The use of pre-corrections provides children with supports, prompts and reinforcement to increase the likelihood that they will engage in the expected behaviour. If we start with the ABC of behaviour, often the focus is on the behaviour as it is occurring, rather than looking at antecedents that may prompt or trigger the behaviour. If the behaviour is inappropriate, often we will follow up with a consequence, such as in this example, we say, you need to be kind and use paint for paintings, not people. However, in the use of pre-corrections in positive behaviour support, what we do is look at the things that we would like students to do and tell them before we expect them to do that. So, students are moving to the block area, we give them a reminder. Remember to be a kind friend and share that block area today. We then hopefully get the expected behaviour, and this provides us with the opportunity to follow up with some positive reinforcement. Thank you for being a kind friend. You are a superstar. I saw how you shared those blocks today. What we see then is the use of pre-correction has increased the likelihood that we have prevented problem behaviour and that we have seen the expected behaviour. Traditionally, when we wait for a problem behaviour to occur and then deliver a correction, it is seen as a reactive response, and it focuses on what not to do and generally involves a negative interaction with the child. For example, go back and pick up your rubbish before you go out to play. However, using pre-corrections is a proactive and preventative approach. It anticipates problem behaviour and it focuses on telling the students what we want them to do before they do it. That way, it increases the likelihood we get the behaviour we want and we can follow up with a positive interaction with the child. One of the things that we know is that to increase quality of teacher-student relationships, we need to increase the number of positive interactions that we have with our children. So remember to put all of your rubbish in the bin before you go and play. When they do that, we get to follow up with, thank you for being a superstar. You put your rubbish in the bin. Well done. What we know from research is that the use of pre-corrections has shown outstanding results in improving student behaviour. It sets students up to be successful and then again provides us an opportunity to give them credit for it. This is what we see good educators doing to support student behaviour. Some key features of pre-correction. 1. Anticipate and plan ahead. Think about the behaviours, the common behaviour errors. Think about what you want to see instead, and then deliver pre-corrections prior to that activity or transition. Tell them exactly what it is that you want them to do. Remember to use our quiet voices during rest time today. Quiet as a mouse so we don't disturb other people who are taking their rest. Research has identified different types of pre-correction. They may be verbal, visual, or physical. Verbal pre-corrections are exactly that, telling the students exactly what it is that you want them to do before they do it. Remember, use your walking feet today so we all stay safe when we move to the area. 2. Visual pre-corrections remain a constant reminder for students around what we want of them. So, here is that quiet voice, quiet as a mouse inside, or we're going outside today so you can use your dinosaur voices as you are playing. Visual pre-corrections can also be tailored to support individual students, as in this example here. A keychain for that student who needs some extra support to remember to use their quiet voice or their walking feet inside. Physical pre-corrections can also be used. We can model to students the behaviour that we want for them to display, or we can use a physical hand over hand to show them correct behaviours. Some of the challenges of pre-correction. 1. It is much more effective if all staff have that shift in thinking and use those pre-corrections with our students. 2. We need to reflect on our daily schedule and routines to anticipate when problem behaviours may arise, rather than waiting for them to occur. So therefore we need to have some knowledge of a given setting before we start to plan and use pre-corrections. Researchers have identified 7-step pre-correction plan, and we are now going to have a look at the steps within that plan. Step 1, to think about a recurring time or situation during your day that is challenging where you would like to improve behaviour of children. Some examples here: packing away after playtime, eating time or rest time. Step 2, think about the behaviours that you would like to see instead, and then develop some specific examples for students about the behaviours that we want to see. It may be useful to go back to the training video on defining expected behaviours and look at the employer to determine how to write those expected behaviours. Step 3, examine your environment and identify any modifications that you might make to increase the likelihood that children will be successful and reduce the likelihood for problem behaviour. We can see here on the left some lovely environmental cards there showing students exactly where to stand and wait in line to leave the room safely. Number 2, we can see just some simple squares on the floor that help children know how to play in their own space. And number 3 here, the use of tags to actually show how many students can be in a centre at one particular time. Step 4, identify when or how you will provide children with the opportunity to practice the expected behaviour. Telling them isn't enough. We actually have to teach and practice and build fluency. The next training video will go into more detail around teaching behaviour. Step 5, identify how you will pre-correct or provide prompts, whether they be verbal, visual or physical, for those behaviours. Step 6, providing reinforcement, specifically telling students exactly what they did and thanking them for it. So, thank you for using good table manners and keeping the table clean today. I really appreciate how you cleaned your plate tidily and then walked carefully to the play area. You are a superstar. What we're going to do now is actually practice writing a pre-correction plan for a situation in your centre. Before we do this though, you actually need to have a think about what are some behaviour errors that you often have to correct. In a moment, we're going to stop the video and give you some time to think about those behaviour errors. When you have done that, we'd then like you to work with a partner or individually to develop a pre-correction plan. When you have finished this, please share. Thanks very much for watching this video on pre-corrections.